team's the one who will finish in the top 3 really need to score over that 49 mark. Low to mid 49s on each event.
So we have completed 2 rotations. We move on now to the 3rd rotation. And here's the way this one will line up. Stanford will be on vault, California on the bars. Washington will be on balance beam. ASU will be in Florex. Oregon State, UCLA, and Arizona will be bye. So UCLA with 2 byes in the first 3 rotations. Looking at the Stanford team, they're on vault here. And this is Mandy Delgado, who will be our next vaulter. Just a freshman from not far away here in Cupertino, just right near San Jose.
Well, prior to joining Stanford's team, she was the 2000 and 2001 Junior Olympic vault champion. A very outstanding vaulter throughout her career.
Next up for the Cardinal on vault, Mandy.
Most consistent on the team on this event. Very high scoring event for her. Seen that vault before, a front pike with a half twist, got good distance from the horse.
See that vault?
Still haven't seen a great landing yet on vault.
I was just about to say, almost every time we're seeing a big step.
These are the kind of things that they really want to iron out before nationals. Try and get the perfect landing. She was a little on the front end of the horse, and then that's hard to really direct the last half of the vault so that you can zero in on that landing.
9.825 though for Mandy Delgado. She's actually had a pretty good meet so far here in these championships. She had a pretty good floor exercise earlier for Stanford. So Mandy Delgado doing her part. Cardinal trying to repeat as conference champions. And with that, we'll jump away. We are in the 3rd rotation. There's still a whole lot more to go. These are the Pac-10 Women's Gymnastics Championships, and we've got a lot to come after this. We welcome you back to Maples Pavilion. We're at Stanford for the Women's Gymnastics Championships in the Pac-10 Conference. This is the 3rd rotation. We're going to go over to Mylan Dodd, who prepares for her uneven bars performance for California.
When it's really a shame to see this team going through this turmoil, because the last 4 years under the helm of Trina Tinti, they had grown so much. They were such a better team, more difficulty, better performance quality, just a better team, broke all kinds of team records. So it's really sad to see whatever has gone wrong, and hopefully they'll regroup.
Yeah, there really is quite a history too in gymnastics, both men's and women's in California. Lots of problems this year, though, as you said. Little problem there too on the landing for Mylan Dodd.
That's when you say bend your legs. You land a little bit stiff-legged. That doesn't absorb the shock of the landing. Kind of bounces you forward. Yeah, they're talking about it. It's like, bend your legs. And it's not. That's when you just got to laugh. Sometimes you just don't time it quite right. And keep in mind, there is spring-loaded floor right underneath that. You don't usually land on a floor that bounces back at you. Boink.
Yep. Never really did quite get her balance. So we wait for the score of Mylan Dodd. In the meantime, we're going to go to Lindsay Wing for Stanford on the vault. Here's Lindsay.
Very strong all-around jump. Ooh, boy. Something went wrong on the pre-flight of that vault. Little bent-legged.
9-7 the score for Lindsay Wing on that vault. I'm sure she'd like better. Still waiting on the score of Mylan Dodd. 9.8 is the score for Dodd. There again, we talk about generous scoring, and seems as though it might be just that.
Well, there's just a bigger difference in some of the medium routines and the really excellent routines. We're going to see some really phenomenal routines from UCLA on the uneven bars, and there's only 0.2 of a point to go in there. So I just think they should spread it out a little bit. And I have mixed feelings about that, because I also like to see the gymnasts excited about big scores.
On the balance beam for Washington, which so far is having a pretty good competition, actually, Emily Pritchard.
Unfortunately, she slipped off on her mount on this event. A fall off any of the apparatus in gymnastics is 0.5 of a point deduction right off the bat. The scoring system is really quite complicated. You have to admire the judges for going through what they do to learn. They actually write down the entire routine in shorthand. They have to determine the difficulty value of the routine, take the deductions for the form, and it's very complicated. I will have to add in the same breath, though, that it's gotten maybe a little too complicated, that you can't see the forest for the trees situation sort of happens. You're too busy counting trees to decide if it's a pretty forest.
Very good, Kat.
You got to keep in mind this is an artistic sport, and you can't take that element out. It has to be subjective there.
Yeah, I mean, even in the terminology that we use, and we've used it several times today, performance. It's one-of-a-kind event.
We've kind of taken that out of the hands of the judges, and I think it should be more a part of the sport. It's an artistic sport, and that should be a value in the score.
You can tell by the look on Emily Pritchard's face that not too pleased. Here's what happened.
Boy, it's a shame. It's not just the personal disappointment. Keep in mind how strongly these gymnasts feel about their contribution to their team. They know all of their teammates are counting on them, particularly if there's been a fall early in the rotation. There's a lot of pressure to take up the slack, and you know, this is the time you got to regroup. You have other events to go to and forge ahead.
Yeah, don't let it carry over into the next rotation. We're going to move along to the vault now. Stanford on the vault, and this is going to be Kendall Beck.
Another former national team member, lots of talent. Very pretty vault. It's actually elegant in the air, nice stretch position.
And that's the score for Kendall Beck, and very good score. Back to the beam, Tanya Powers of Washington. Now we're going to switch over to Arizona State. They're in the floor exercise, and that is Maggie Germain, who is waiting for her score. We'll get back to her. Emily Pritchard, meanwhile, at 9.35. So had she have not fallen on her mount, that would have been a very good score, actually. She kind of dodged a bullet with a 9.35. We're in the middle of the third rotation. Still more to come in that one, and 4 more after that. Don't go away.